Hello and welcome to Exploring Christianity, A Journey of Faith. A few videos ago we talked about what it feels like to hear God speak to us. Today we're going to talk about a way to encourage that to happen. Lectio Divina, which means divine reading, is a specific way of reading the Bible. Instead of reading the Bible to see what it says, it's reading the Bible to see what God has to say directly to you right now. Lectio Divina should not replace regular Bible reading or Bible study, but it's a great additional way to interact with the Bible and God. Basically, the idea is this. You ask God a few questions, and then read the Bible and pay close attention to how God speaks to you in what you read, and this may help guide you to how God is answering. The technique that I use I got from a book by Ruth Haley Barton called Invitation to Solitude and Silence. Here's how it works. It'll take about 20 or 30 minutes and you won't want to rush it. You'll need to find a quiet place and ideally pick a space where you tend to feel close to God. Pick out a passage from the Bible. Generally doesn't matter which one, though I'd avoid an entire section of begats or census numbers. Something from the Psalms might work well for a first attempt. I look for a logical section using the white space divisions in my Bible that is at least 5 verses long and not longer than maybe 15 verses. Get comfortable, take some deep breaths, and allow yourself to become quiet in the presence of God. Tell God that you hope to hear God speak to you. Put aside your busyness and let your soul fill with quiet peace. Now read or listen to your selected passage 4 times. I like to mix up reading it silently, reading it out loud, and listening to an audio recording of it on my phone, but whatever works for you. Before each time I read or listen, I ask God a question that I find on my heart. Then I read the passage, and then I sit for a minute or two in silence, trying not to consciously think about anything in particular. Don't worry if you don't think of a question each time. If nothing comes to mind after a minute, just read the passage without it. After the 4th time, read the passage again once or twice and see if a word or a phrase jumps out at you more than the rest. You may feel drawn toward it or that you pull away from it. Your mood is still calm, gentle, and reflective. Sometimes the word or phrase has already struck me when reading things through the first 4 times, which is fine too. I usually have a minute of fear that nothing will jump out at me, but so far that hasn't happened. After you've found your word or phrase, just sit in it for a brief time, not trying to figure out what it means or why it was given to you, but just savoring it. Then read the passage again 1 or 2 more times. Ask yourself, what is going on in your life that you needed to hear that word or phrase today? Or if the passage is a story, consider if you're in the story in your life right now. Again, sit for a few minutes of stillness and silence, again savoring the word or phrase you were given. Try not to think a lot about the passage itself. I find that the passage is often a way for God to gift me the word or phrase, but God's message for me often has nothing at all to do with the rest of the passage. Then listen for a challenge or invitation based on your word or phrase. That's your unedited response to what you heard from God. Let whatever it is flow through you. Maybe it connects to something that's causing you pain or anger or frustration, or maybe you experience God's love. Just let those feelings pour out silently to God. Just soak in whatever you experience. The final step is to rest and ponder how to live the word or phrase you received. I used to feel a bit wrung out by this point and cut this step short, and I've learned that this step is critical and is how you transition from hearing God's message to living it. Spend some time resting and thanking God for speaking to you and gifting you with your word or phrase. Think about how the word or phrase is to be lived out in your day and the days to follow. On multiple occasions when going through this process, I find myself fretting about the questions that I've asked. It feels to me like the word or phrase that I was given or my thoughts about how it's reflected in my life do not connect to any of the questions that I ask. So maybe I start second guessing which word or phrase I was given. Maybe it was this one. Or I try to force my thoughts down a path that will give me the answers I hope to hear. So far, I've always found that at least one of my questions was answered, though not always in the way I wanted. Sometimes I don't realize that God has answered my questions until the very last step when I'm thinking about how to live what I've heard. Sometimes I realize that God has answered a question that was strongly on my heart but which I was afraid to ask. If you can, try not to wrest control from God and just flow through the experience. I'm not very good at that, but then God knows that about me and still makes this work out, so don't fret if you fight the process a bit too. Please give this a try. It can be a really powerful experience. Then please let us know how it went.